talk really about what makes you uniquely powerful. We hear about authentic leadership. What the hell does that mean? So what I'd like you to think about first is I would like you to think about great leaders. And I'd like you, if you can, to think of 2 leaders who inspire you. And think about what it is about them that you really admire. Now, the reality is that we hear that to be a great leader, we need all these different leadership characteristics. But if you think about the leaders that you have in mind, and perhaps many others, I know in my mind, I'm thinking immediately of Donald Trump and, let's say, Nelson Mandela. They both are very interesting characters, and love them or hate them, they both have followership. So what that means is that we don't actually need to acquire loads and loads of different characteristics. What we need to do is to think about what we bring as a leader. What is our authentic style? What makes you unique? And I think one of the things I've realized is that we get so busy doing our job and being that we don't often take the time to really pause and reflect on who we are and what we bring to the table. So this is really what this is about specifically now. And I would like you to use this time to think about what's good for you. As Steve Jobs says, we're all here to put a dent in the universe. Otherwise, why even be here? So what kind of legacy do you want to leave? What's your purpose? We all need a purpose, right? Because if we don't have a goal in mind, we're going to just aimlessly go through life and we might end up living part of somebody else's purpose. So think very strongly. What really motivates you? What is it that you really, really want to feel that you're achieving as a leader? I want to share a little bit about me and how I got to where I am. So, as I said to you, 30 years, honestly, after being successful at raising leaders and teams, I honestly thought I'd nailed it. I thought I knew exactly what it took to engage people and to ensure that they thrived. And then 8 years ago, here in Dubai, I had a terrible accident. I was a runner. I was hit by a car one day when I was out running, and I was thrown 30 feet. And I smashed most of my body. My feet even came off. My mother always said, if you're going to do something well, do it really well. And honestly, in this case, I really did. Now, I originally faced amputation, double amputation, but my legs were sewn on. And doctors thought that amongst all my serious injuries, I would never walk again. But honestly, truly, I didn't want to just survive. That was important. I made a choice that I'd survive. I didn't want to die, but I wanted to really thrive. And so I really got myself together thinking about what I could do. I started working when I came out of the high dependency ward. I delivered my first training in a wheelchair 11 weeks after the accident. And I continued to work and work and work. And I've had 17 surgeries so far to rebuild me, and I have more ahead. And I've not allowed this to reduce me or make me smaller in my life. And people said, how are you so resilient? And I thought, I don't know. So I took the time and I studied positive psychology. I did a deep dive on resilience, learned optimism, appreciative inquiry, and I became a Gallup strengths coach. Because what I realized is actually we have a huge amount of personal resources literally at our fingertips that we're often not even aware that we have. And so what I did, it made me really focus that we can all be prepared to be our best if we know how. And I learned how. I learned the strategies. I learned all the things. And I thought, if I can do this, I felt my purpose was then really to help others, not just showcase my own superpowers, but to help others showcase theirs. And so it really not changed my direction, but focused my direction about what was really important to me, what really mattered. And so, as I said, I became a Gallup strengths coach, Gallup being the global analytical company that helps leaders solve their most pressing problems. And I worked with them, and I still work with them in terms of writing content for resilience around the world. I've been on Dubai TV talking about resilience, and I wrote my book with a lot of about my story and a lot of advice and suggestions, and real tips and strategies to help people. And I was delighted that it became an international bestseller. So the point is that my accident focused me. Now, I'm not saying any of you need to go through a trauma to get to where you are, but what focuses you? What do you know you want? And how are you developing that for you? So people buy into the leader before they buy into the vision. What do you want to be known for? I'm going to share 5 tips or 5 particular things with you today. So what do you want to be known for? As a leader, it's about your impact, your influence, and your inspiration. And really, managing people is not easy. Those of you who are parents, you know how hard it is to manage kids, let alone other people. But the point is this: you are the bottom line as a leader, and you've got to make it work. Now, as I said before, that leaders have different characteristics that they bring to the table. And in this era that we live in now, it's about specialization, not being all-rounded and doing everything. So what you need to think about is, what particular thing would you like to be recognized for? How would you like to be an expert in your field? What are the things you're naturally good at? What inspires you? And what is the impact you want to create? And the thing is, once you've decided what it is that you want to be known for, then you've got to think about, how am I developing that? How will I gain mastery? How will I invest in my skills? Do I need more training? Do I need more experience? Do I need to study more? What do I need? How do I practice to become my best self? So number 1 to think of, what do you want to be known for? The second thing is about your impact. Now, there are 3 essential elements to business success. And based on the pie model that I'm showing you here by Coleman, he talks about performance, image, and exposure. Now, you might look at this and say, what do you mean performance? Only 10%, I work so hard. We do. We really work hard. But we have that 10% is essential to get right. Okay, we can be good at many things. If we have a growth mindset, we know that we can learn stuff, but we want to be excelling. So what stuff are you going to excel at? Where is your best performance? How are you going to add value to your performance? For you, for your organization, for your teams, what is it that gives you your best 10%? Then 30% is about our image. Well, this is about our personal brand. This is about recognizing, if I was to say to you, what 5 words would you use to describe yourself? Do you think the people you work with around you would use those same 5 words about you? So this is about living how you want to be seen, how your performance is, your mastery. How are you living that so people can see this image? Scarily, 60% of our executive success is about our exposure. What does that mean? Who sees you? Outside your immediate team, for example, your immediate contacts, who sees what you do? What networks do you belong to? Do you speak? Do you write? Are you great on social media? What do you do to raise your profile? Now, in this day and age, I think you'll agree with me that we don't often get the feedback we want. We don't often get the appreciation or perhaps the recognition we think we'd like. So it's really down to us to deep dive and say, where are we making our impact? What do we need to do differently to raise our profile? Number 3, you have to keep evolving to thrive. Now, leadership, as I said, unfortunately, it's not just an expertise. It's a constant investment. And I think it's fair to say that we just never seem to have enough time. But it's really, really important. Over the last 8 years, I've had to reinvent myself 17 times. And anyone who tells you that when things are difficult, think positively and you'll bounce back, it's a load of nonsense. When you're challenged sometimes, and we all get times where we're really challenged, it is sometimes we've got to really claw our way back, really determined effort to move ourselves forward, not just to survive in this difficult climate, but to really thrive. And one thing my accident taught me is that when I did things well, it had actually been unconscious effort. We're naturally good at stuff, and we just kind of assume everyone does what we do. And we don't really think very hard about what we do well because it's instinctive in us to do certain things. So this was all done with unconscious effort. What I realized is the huge power of recognizing, bringing to the fore into our conscious mind, our talents and the things that we are doing well. Because when you consciously know what those things are that allow you to do things well, and you actually leverage those, it's huge personal wins. I have been able to achieve so many things. I have strengths of achiever and focus and activator, which is making things happen. And these things, when I knew what they are and I was constantly using them, I was able to achieve stuff I didn't think I could. So we have to keep evolving. We know through COVID, we've gone through some scary stuff, right? And it keeps changing. The climate keeps changing. We're not in a settled space yet. So we've got to keep thinking, what do we need to do to evolve? How do we invest in ourselves? What's at our fingertips, perhaps that we are not yet leveraging? And not be scared to try. Because every time we try, even if it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. That's one thing we've tried. We're one step closer to getting to where we need to be. So keep looking at what do you need to keep evolving? Where's your greatest potential? Cultivate your self-awareness. This is absolutely paramount. This is taking time to reflect on you, okay? It's about becoming more conscious of your talents, the things that you're good at, your things that motivate you to do well, and things perhaps that make you vulnerable. And it's about really learning that, yes, when things don't go right for us, how do we manage those better? But more importantly, the things we're really good at, how can we really leverage them so that we stand out? Because there's a connection between who people are and what they do best and how they feel and how they perform. And as I said to you, Gallup, analytical company, it's recognized that when you actually work to those strengths, to your talents, we are 6 times more engaged at work. Now, gosh, don't we all need that? Over 40% more productive, 3 times more likely to have an excellent quality of life, and 80% more likely to be part of a high-performing team. So when you're thinking of how you want to evolve and how you want to work, don't get too caught up in trying to fix all the things you're not good at. You have to work around them so they don't slow you down, definitely. But where you will really be at your best, your authentic best, is looking at those things that everyone looks to you at and says, oh my God, you're really good at this, you're really good at that. Take heed of that. What can you do more of so that you really stand out? And then learn to define your personal brand. So this is going back to when we talked in that pie model about your image. This is about your image. Everything has a brand. McDonald's through to Tiffany's, through to Porsche, whatever it might be. And we know when they've got a brand that's very clear, we know it tells us exactly what to expect from that thing. Now we've got to do that for you. You are your own company, your own brand. How do you want to be seen? So think of what you would like people to say about you when you're not in the room. What are the things that you think define you? And how can you ensure that other people understand that, see that, hear that? And this comes round to what you do at your best. So how can you promote that? How can you stand out? How can you build this brand so that people can see? And this is about being your authentic self. This is about recognizing your unique strengths. As he said, other leaders will stand out for what they are. You need to stand out for who you are. This is what we talk about, our authenticity. So we don't need to try to be someone else. We just need to be us. And we need to be the best we can be.